I
And
mean,
that's
today
why
it's
50 and older vets right now are the top, are 70% of people going to get help for PTSD and also committing suicide is
yeah,
50 and older.
yeah.
70% of that numbers. And that's because we were told forever, do not, do not talk about your feelings. Don't do this. Don't do that. Don't, and you need to
Yeah.
be taken care of. So,
Welcome to Sharpen the Spear podcast, where we help manufacturing executives command the front and win the floor. I'm Richard Walsh, creator of the Sharpened Impact methodology, and I spent decades helping leaders transform frontline teams, unlock hidden profit, and capture capacity they didn't even know they had. If you want to see where your leadership gaps are costing you and how to fix them, head over to grittolead.com and run the free Sharpened Impact Simulator today. Let's sharpen your edge and get started. And we are back on STS, Sharpen the Spear podcast with another incredible guest. I've got Ed Parcaut with us today. And Ed, no one knows Ed better than Ed. So, Ed, I need the backstory. Bring us up to speed. And we'll get into the conversation.
how far back do you want to know?
Whatever you want to do, man. Some people got good far back. Some people don't bother.
Well,
It's
no,
all
I mean, so my dad died. So this is how it started my journey. My dad died of hairy cell leukemia when I was 12, which is from Agent Orange. And back then, the VA, of course, said, no, there's nothing wrong with people with Agent Orange. That had nothing to
right.
do with it. I won't get into the whole thing. We'll be on the whole show. But then, so then I worked at my grandfather's dairy. I did all this stuff, and I grew up much faster than I should have as a kid. And so I always thought I was older than I was. And so from there, I joined the Navy, wanted to see the world, got to see San Diego and North County, San Diego, and then Texas for a short period. But I was a corpsman in the Navy, worked with the Marine side. So I deal more, I connect more with the Marines than I do the Navy
Hoorah.
people. Yeah, because those are my people. After got my bachelor's and master's while I was in, and then fell in the mortgage industry and really loved helping people understand how important it is to own a home and what you can do with that and how to build wealth for your family. And then fell into the radio world in 2018. Started a local show called Real Estate Jerky. Would give you something to chew on. Been doing that for 8 years and get probably 50% of my business from the radio show. And they want us to be syndicated now. And I'm fighting it because I got so many other things going on. So
Oh, that's
then
awesome.
from the radio, I've done what, 4 different podcasts that I'm doing, plus wrote a book, was in a documentary about real estate and finance. And so I've done a few things. And
Yeah.
then, yeah. So that's where I'm at now. What do I do now? Because someone asked me the other day, what do you do? And I finally had my mentor tell me about 2 years ago what I do. And I tell people stories across multiple mediums. That's what I do now.
Nice. Nice. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, quite a background, when you're doing now, are you doing 4 current podcasts?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
Plus
see.
the radio show.
Yeah,
That's
that's more than
13
I
to
cared.
4. Yeah. 13 to 14 episodes of stuff a week I do. Yeah.
Yeah, I that's more than I care to take on. Okay. I'm releasing 3 a week and have been all year. And I'm like, that's enough. Okay. So it's
Well,
like,
3 a week is good. I
yeah,
tell people now, if you're going to, here's what people don't understand about podcasting is by so 90% of podcasts fell by episode 3.
yep.
Of the 10% that's left over, 90% of that fails by episode 20. So if you get to episode 21, you're in the top 1% of all podcasts out there. And people don't understand that. And the reason people fail is because they don't understand the time, the cost, all that stuff. And so, that's my goal right now is to help people understand that and to actually get through that so we can get rid of that failure rate.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, just for the record, you're episode 182. So I'm definitely the 1%. And I had a previous podcast did 115 episodes. So I'm up there. So good. That makes me feel a little better.
Well,
But
here's the problem with that statement, right? 1%. So when people used to get this notification, hey, you're in the top 1% of blah, 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 that means you've got 21 episodes.
right,
That
right.
doesn't mean you have the top 1% of listeners out there or people listening to your show. It just means you have that many episodes. That's
And
unfortunate.
let me just validate. Okay. So I was on this, I'm just going to be really general. This person's podcast, okay, had to wait like a year, top half percent, all this kind of stuff, right? So I'm waiting this year, and then it got delayed a few more months. Finally get on, an absolute disappointment. Just, I'm like, there's no way you're in the top half percent. Okay,
No,
now
he
I
is.
understand the numbers.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
If you understand the numbers, like, Mark Twain said, "There's lies, damn lies, and then statistics," and that's
Right.
exactly what it is. And I have another book that says how to lie with statistics, which
Yeah.
means you can make the numbers work any way you want.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm booked out, so I have my radio show. From that, I also do a daily Monday through Friday at 8:30 in the morning live on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube, and we put it to a podcast afterwards. That one's a daily, and if you're going to start a podcast, I recommend doing a
Ooh,
daily.
really?
Yeah, because you'll get to the top numbers and start downloads faster. Because think about it, you're at 120 episodes, right? How many years that take you
I'm at 182, and it took me since January 20th.
of this year?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's not bad. So you're almost there. It's only 2 more days a week. That's what I mean by daily, Monday through Friday, not Monday
Yeah.
through Saturday or
Right, right,
Sunday.
right.
Yeah, not
Right, right,
7 days a week. And I interviewed a guy who does a daily one. He's been doing it for years, and he's got 1.5 million downloads because of it. And it's a history one. And he doesn't
yeah.
interview people. He just talks about things in history, and people search his content all the time. And I will tell you, he's making pretty good money with that download numbers.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm better with the guests, Ed. I don't think I want to talk that much. I mean, I don't think I have enough. Like, and I have a guy on the other day, and he does 5 minutes each day.
Mhm.
He does motivational thing, puts it out. That's great, really consistent. I think the consistency, like you're saying, is what's the big deal.
Mhm.
Um, that's where people fail. I mean, I know they stop after three. That's a big thing, but I really, I love the guest format because I love the energy. Feed off and I get interesting people and they're lined up and it's just great. So but yeah, it's just but your volume still at four podcast radio show and all this other stuff. Now you made this is your thing. Are you doing the real estate thing as well still?
I own a mortgage company, so I'm still doing
Okay.
mortgages because I focus on veterans, and then also reverse mortgages and then business owners. And most of my business owners are veterans because if you know anything, 50% of
Right.
business owners, I mean, 50% of veterans are business owners.
And
So,
well, like me. Okay. So it's I always tell people, I go, well, depending on how long you stayed in, it really only takes the 4 year stint. Um, you either like taking direction from others or you don't. I was in the don't category. I'm going to have to
yeah.
work for myself because I learned I don't take direction well. So I'm going
Well,
to
and
have
that's
to.
yeah, but that's what you're like me. I was in 5 years, 5 months, and 14 days, but who was counting? And the only reason I was in that long is because I had to extend for a specialty school. Because when they came to me in 18 months in, they said, "Okay," I was at Camp Pendleton at the hospital. They go, "Okay, Ed, your choice is a ship or a specialty school." And I said, "Well, what specialty is not on a ship?" And they said physical therapy. I said, "That's exactly what I want to do." So I picked physical therapy and really enjoyed it. Dealt with burn patients and a lot of other stuff, and if you haven't dealt with your PTSD like I didn't for many, many years, because I really didn't understand that's what I was dealing with. Because even though you're not in combat, does not mean you don't have PTSD from some of the stuff that you've been dealing with, and you should go get that taken care of. But we never ask for help. So,
That's right. I was a big non-asker. So in my business too, first 20 years, no one's going to help me. Doing it all by myself. So that led to my demise in 08 and 09. Had to start all over again because I refused help. So that is a big thing, these days. And the PTSD thing too, even from childhood stuff and everything else, you've got a lot that really stacks up. But addressing that's a big deal.
mhm.
And I think it's becoming more, what would be the word, more acceptable, approachable these
Yeah,
days because you've
not when
had
we
some.
were in.
No, no, not when heck no.
Yeah, you even talked about it. It was a scarlet letter, man.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. It was, yeah, it was something. I
And
mean,
that's
today
why
it's
50 and older vets right now are the top, are 70% of people going to get help for PTSD and also committing suicide
yeah,
is 50 and older.
yeah,
70% of that numbers. And that's because we were told forever, do not talk about your feelings. Don't do this. Don't do that. Don't, and you need to
yeah.
be taken care of. So,
Yeah, there's, and then you put 20 years of war.
oh yeah.
These guys have been on 10 deployments, 15 deployments, and stuff like that. It's just insane. But I think what's really brought it for me at the forefront is guys like, speaking of this podcast, Sean Ryan, guys like this who are bringing these tier one operators, been doing it for 20 years, right? And then they're going through their stories in detail, right? You get these 2 3 hour things, and the help they've got, whether it's psychedelic stuff or whatever it is, but really addressing this, and then turning back and helping other veterans, right? You see that, and they're talking about the real suicide rates. Saying it's
Mhm.
22, and like, no, it's like 41.
Yeah, it's
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 like,
close to 50 because
yeah,
unless they put it on the death certificate, it doesn't get counted.
right. So it's such a, but they're out with this, this mission to help vets, which is really powerful. You know what I mean? Have you seen Waves and War?
Ways of war?
That
No.
Waves and War. It's a documentary on, I think it's Netflix, or it's awesome. So it's again, a couple tier one guys, and just the story and what all that PTSD had done to their families, and then the recovery using psychedelics and all that kind of stuff done in Mexico, and it's really really well done. So it's definitely worth a watch, my man. I'll tell you,
But
you'd really appreciate it.
what, have you seen the other one that's on there that has to do with the Vietnam War? It you would know if you because it
I don't think
looks
so.
at it looks at the side of the Viet Cong and then the other side of us when we're in it, and then the talks about the not cave the tunnel rats.
Yeah,
But the Viet Cong was like, we don't know why you're over here invading our country.
right.
So that just shows you that both sides had no idea why we were there.
Yeah,
And I want to go back to your statement about the tier one and all that. I don't want people to think that there because they got to be careful with that because there are so many people have PTSD from
oh,
training, other stuff that has
agreed.
that and non-combat who think they shouldn't get help or have this because they were never in combat. You signed on the line to go to war for this country. If you were lucky enough not to have to go to war, or if you were in there in that period of time but didn't have to go over to combat, you might have, lucky you because the ones who did, they definitely need help. But the ones who were there supporting them also need help also. And I just want to make sure people understand that because sometimes people think I was not a tier that type of person. I
Right.
shouldn't go get help. And I want to make sure everybody go gets help.
Yeah, thank you for that clarification. That's yeah. I'm just my intent with that statement was people think those guys don't have the issues
Oh, they definitely do.
because they're getting way more than
Because
you'd think, right?
right. And the big deal is there's no time off.
Right.
I just killed somebody and now I'm in bed with my wife.
Yeah.
Right. There's not 2 months on a ship coming back from wherever you've been at to decompress with your buddies. That's why World War II didn't have as much issues because they had so much time on their hands. Even during war, they were not constantly fighting like we do now.
Right.
So,
Yeah, and it's interesting because you think we'd learn that because Vietnam started that in country one day, back home on the streets the next day. My uncle had that one backfire in a car. I mean, he just accelerated. He's driving in the park. Just he had all this stuff, right? These guys all dealt with that. But you think they would have learned, right? But there's none of that time in between.
I'll tell you, here's the reason why. So I always go back to Rambo when I say this. When John's in the prison and after he had done something, and his colonel comes up to him and says, "John, what do you want?" He goes, "I want what everybody else who came over here and spilt their blood for this country wants. I want my country to love me as much as I love it." That's the problem. Government doesn't care.
That's
And
right.
that is what you have to understand. And go back to where we were talking about childhood memories and issues with that. The government comes after people like that. That's what they look for because those are the people who need the help getting out when they're the quickest one to sign on the line. And I'm not going against that because I went from where I was, joined the military, got a lot out of it. And I see that differently today. Like my son's he's in the army. He's, what is he now, 23? But he's on a second tour going to, re-enlist again and it's different. They're all, I think the 24 and below generation is going to be like the greatest generation again about because of what they had to go through. Like he was stuck in a barracks during the pandemic and they forgot about him up there in
Yep.
Alaska. And a lot of them started committing suicide and they've been through a lot more than a lot of other people. So I think it's a totally different world right now with the newer people. So,
Yeah, my son is in the Marine Corps now, and he's MSG, so he's out of embassy guard now in Europe. But remember, I was just on before I remembered I got to jump on with you. I was on the phone with him, but we were just out there seeing him. But yeah, you see, it's been really interesting watching him. He's been in 2 years now, and it's been really watching what goes on around them, who goes in, how they adapt, how they can adapt. It's been really an interesting journey just to see what he's endured. I got the honor to have a got invited. Him and I got invited on a podcast, and he got to share, and it was kind of really cool. The two of us doing that. But it was what was really fascinating is his mindset. Ed, now like when he walked through like growing up and what he do and what he was going through in the Marine Corps and the training and all this stuff. MSG is like the third hardest school in the Marine Corps. So but it was just fascinating to see his mindset, his determination to do this stuff. And everyone's not like that, but you also start to see what they have to deal with while doing it, while other guys are dropping constantly from boot camp through SOI through MSG school. I mean, guys just not having the ability to even get through this stuff. So I don't know what that actually says about anything. I'm not a big this generation stuff. I hate every generation thinks, the next generation is not good. They don't work. They don't do
Well,
all this.
yeah.
Yeah.
But that's how it works. We always talk bad about the next generation,
Right.
but there's four types of generational and how that works. And usually research it. I was never about it until somebody talked to me about it, and I watched and I go, okay, I can see how each generation, because what's the whole thing?
Mm-hmm.
What is it? Hard times make hard people, weak times make weak people. I totally agree with that. What you're pushed through and do you come out of. I came out differently because when my dad died when I was 12, it's totally different than if he would have been around. I always say there's two things my dad taught me: life's not fair and how to duck. And
Right.
so, you can just leave it at that one.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
wouldn't be who I am today if he was still there because he was abusive. So,
Yeah. Yeah. I remember I was at a World War II event. One of my sons does World War II reenacting and stuff, and I was at things for these vendors, and there was a young guy. I think he was Army, maybe Marine Corps. I can't remember, but he's talking to me, and I'm like, "Well, when you in?" I said, "Well, I went in '83," and he goes, "Oh, the real Marine Corps," like that. And I'm going, "Dude," I said it was just funny. I go, "You know what? We said the same thing about the Vietnam guys.
yeah.
They were the real Marine Corps.
Yeah, but
We
back
were
then they could be touched. The
right."
difference was in 84, 80, in the 80s, they stopped that to where you couldn't touch the person. So what they do, come here, lean against my hand, lean against my
Yeah,
hand.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
do the opposite.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I just but it's just but that's that generational perception. What it is. They're all thinking that, we all have that. And the Vietnam guys said about the Korean guys, World War II, and it goes back and back, right? So but it's interesting that perspective is really interesting when you're I'm gonna air quote measuring up, right? We're all trying to, I see it in my son. I see when I was in, you're going in to test yourself. Because I had asked my son and I was like, well, when he was first talking about it, I'm like, well, the cool thing about today, you can get any kind of training you can imagine. We can go any weekend and we can shoot, we can do this, we can do whatever you want, we can go and do it. And then he's like, yeah, it's not the same. That brotherhood, that thing, you're not going to duplicate what the Marine Corps can do,
right.
and stuff like that, right? So and I totally get it. So I respected that, So I'm like, you don't have to, just like you wanted to box. I said, well, there's jujitsu, you could do that, but I'll teach you to box because I boxed. So we boxed, we take him through it and stuff, but he's always looking for that, that challenge, that personal challenge, and not everyone's like that, but I found it to be very useful for myself as well, going through this stuff. But at the same time, things are going to come up. Your limitations are going to be well. They're like the dross, right? When you're making gold, the dross comes up to the surface with a lot of fire, then you scoop that off, right, and you're left with the pure gold. And that's kind of what it's all about. It's just dealing with the effects. I think is the challenge.
But I also, the difference between us in the 80s and when we got out in the 90s is there was no way to stay connected.
Right.
Now there are so many ways to stay connected. You can have a group of everybody, from your division on whatever it is. Because I was different. I
Yeah.
was Navy. We didn't have that. Not at the hospital. I tell people I was like in MASH. That's
Right.
how I was in the physical therapy department. It was a totally different world. There was no caring
Yeah.
about hair or whatever regs and that kind of stuff. It was a totally different world.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, but
Yeah.
yeah, go ahead.
No, you're right. It's just really really interesting when we go through that perspective, and all of us are in at different times doing different things, and the Marine Corps in general. When I talk to my son, I go, not much has changed. So like quick example is like we're at the MSG graduation forum, Ed, right? So so you got a gunny. All the parents are in this big room, and they're telling us what MSG is all about, what the kids are going to do, and all this stuff. Well, we really care about circadian rhythms. They get 8 hours of sleep. We work 8 hour shifts. All this kind of stuff. And I'm just looking. I'm going, I don't think the Marine Corps has changed. I go, I'll wait to see, but this all sounds good. Oh, sure enough, my son told me, oh, we're 12 hours, 14 hour shifts. No, so doing PT at 4 a.m. You know what I mean? Like right after a shift. It's
Right.
just like, I go, see, that's the Marine Corps.
Yeah.
See,
Well,
so some things don't change.
they tell the parents what they want to hear.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's
Because
right. I'm like, I'm just looking at the guy and I'm right in the front row. I'm going to go, dude, you're so full of crap.
yeah. But see, I looked at when my son was joining was like the movie Stripes during the
Yeah.
70s when they
Yeah.
joined the army, that kind of way it was where it was. And that's kind of where I see that today is kind of like that, to where there's many different people who don't like certain things, like during when people came back from Vietnam, they didn't like certain things. And so I just see a totally different world these days. And I hopefully it gets better and better as we keep going and changing. So,
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's, as long as things can get addressed, but I think earlier you said the point, the people who are sending you don't care. The reality is you gotta, there was a talking about the PTSD. I forget her name. It was the wife of one operator. He had been in 20 some years, and she was talking about the suicide rate, right? Said it's 44 a day or whatever it was at the time. This was maybe like a year ago. And she said, well, you have to understand, if you go to the VA, all they want to do is kill you.
yep.
They want you to die.
Hmm.
That's it. And it's just, I mean, she was so hardcore. I mean, I just, whoa. Like she was so adamant about that. Like, man, they've been through it. You know what I mean? They've dealt with all this stuff. They see what's going on. And what a conversation.
Yeah, I see
Like,
it because in my medical record with the VA, I went back finally after fighting for years for my benefits. A ranger took me through, and I'm at 90, but they didn't even look at my PTSD, so I'm going back for that. But for that whole issue is I see the VA doesn't care. The fact that what you have to do to get through to get seen for PTSD is ridiculous. They have you ask this questionnaire to get 33 or higher in order to move from that step to the next step. And that's not even talking to a psychiatrist. You should be talking, it should be just straight to talking to somebody and let them decide whether or not you have it, not a nurse, a social worker, and then, oh, by the way, here's behavioral health. Here's some medicine. Go kill yourself. And what people understand, the only positive thing about the medicine, because after I went through with the Ranger, I actually started my own veteran benefit company because of what I went through and how I'm creating an app to make it easy for everybody to do it, to where you don't even have to pay somebody. It's just going to be
nice.
automated by everything, and it will, because we even have PAs and doctors who writes Nexus letters for us because they've been through the process with us. So they're like, yeah, we'll do that for your people. No problem. So, I mean, it's just a matter of how to fix the system so you can get more people through to get the benefits they need and not be fought by the VA as much as they are.
Right. I remember I had a friend, and same thing. He's going, post combat, everything else, but he's going in, and the the practitioner was like literally had a handful of different pills, and he's like, I really got to take all those. She goes, well, just pick some. I mean, that literally was like, here, one red one and this one, and like he's like, I'm never going back there.
Right.
You know,
But the positive thing about them giving you medicine, this is what we tell all our clients. Go through behavior health, have them prescribe the medicine to you. You don't have to take it, but put in the order and get it, because at that point they have just made you a diagnosis for PTSD. You now have your diagnosis to go through the process to get your benefits, to where you can get anywhere from 30, 50 to 70% disability just from that. And then you can get the rest of your benefits. The young kids now totally understand the system. Unlike you and I, when we went through and we got out, we were told never to do it and blah, 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 and all the different things we were told. And then the VA was back then in the 90s and early 2000, they were just like those insurance companies you see in the movies where they deny, and finally give it to you.
yeah, yeah. It's a different, yeah. And I'm glad the kids got it figured out.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know what
they're
I
being
mean?
told by us, and I tell everybody, if you're in, document everything. You have a phone. this is the first time in history. I mean,
Right.
we had payphones, man. We had nothing.
Right.
We didn't have paper to write anything down.
Right.
I'm like, get out your little notes on your phone and just type it in there. And that's one of the reasons we're making this app, so you can add on your phone and add in, like, I was out on this thing and this is what happened. I was around Sergeant so and so. You write the names down, so if you ever need buddy letters, you know who to talk to. And if you keep track of it and put it in your medical record before you get out, you don't even need anybody to get it taken care of. You'll get your benefits. And you need your benefits. And people say, well, I'm good. I run into all these Vietnam vets who are like, can't hear, can't this. And they're like, I'm good. I don't need it. It's like, no, it's part of it. They said they'll take care of you once you sign online. You need to get that taken care of and get those benefits.
Yeah,
It's not
and I get
SNAP,
that
people.
that was my mindset, right? For a long time earlier. I still, I don't need anything at this time, but I look at just what you're saying, like, no, because what you took us through a lot of times wasn't even, I'll use the word justified. It's just like you're talking about the, Ho Chi Minh and all them. You're like, man, these guys don't even know why we're here. We don't
Right.
know why we're here. Everyone's just there. That became the thing. Vietnam was really that kickoff point. Well, we could talk that all the way back. The whole last 100+ years on war and stuff. But fascinating though, just fascinating. And I just love that you're helping people, get these benefits, right? Encouraging them to do it. Especially these older guys. We've got guys, even in my church, they're 70s now.
Mhm.
And they're just trying to get all their benefits, right, from all the issues they have. My father-in-law is like that too, and it's just, but they won't get any. He's too proud, too this, too that, and we'll deal with it. He still doesn't eat Chinese food because of Vietnam. Okay. It's like,
Right. So he
oh,
hasn't.
that's, you don't want no healing, right? Like, holy cow,
Right.
dude, you can hold on to a grudge. Um, and he can, but I just like to see that someone's doing something about it. Like you're very proactive on this, and I love your creating this app and everything else because there's people as we've gotten older, we've achieved things in business, right? We've done well, we've done this, done that, but now it's kind of that give back time. Like we can use the skills we've accumulated over this time to help others. It's not a huge output, you know what I mean? But it's like, hey, I can contribute. I can get a couple other guys who can do their part. We can put all this stuff together.
Right.
I love that you're doing that.
Well, and I've had everybody we talk to who we help, they want to get involved and help somehow. And how can we build it? How we can get it bigger to get more? Because what people don't understand is right now we have 18 million veterans, 6 million of them have benefits. Out of that 6 million, 2 million of that came in the last year. But out of that 6 million, still, there's only less than 600,000 that has 100% disability. And what people don't understand is if you got knee problems, shoulder problems, other problems, you can be at 100% in no time. And when I first got out and I was doing VA loans and I went to a guy who was 100% disabled, I thought they meant that he's going to be laying in bed and couldn't do anything. That's not what that means.
Right.
That is not at all what that means. And it's like myself, I was at 92 and they didn't even look at my PTSD, my sleep apnea, or my a few other things. So I'm going back for that now, and I do have a major knee problem, and I had no idea what it was from. Well, when I first got out, I had complained about my knees, my shoulders, so it was in my record, but it just at it was at 0%, which just means it's service based, but you didn't complain enough for us to give you any number.
Right. Yeah, I've got people don't realize it's like, especially in the infantry position, 1 year is equal to 4 years, beat down on your body. You're in for 4, 6, 8, 10 years in that thing. Okay, your body goes through it.
Yeah.
I mean, it is brutal.
And if you jump out of planes, yeah,
Yep.
you should be just automatically make sure you put,
Right.
there's so much you can connect to that. But for me, I was picking up patients and moving stuff. We pulled duty as ambulance people on Camp Pendleton, and that wasn't just ambulance, that was like paramedic and more. We
Yeah.
saw some amazing, I don't say amazing, some crap. We'll just leave it that way.
Yeah.
And people go, you know what, more, they don't understand that, but you go in combat and there's issues, but medical people on a regular basis see
Oh,
more shit on a daily basis than you do
oh.
when you're in combat.
Camp
And
Pendleton, you got over 30,000 jarheads there. Okay. Like that's where I was stationed, right?
what was
Like
that, 20
this,
square mile or 30, 50 square? The base is
yeah,
huge. Yeah.
massive,
Yeah. So
massive,
I was stationed at the Santa Ana Fray, is where I pulled my duty for the ambulance. So we went out to your guys' training all the time, picking up
Yeah.
people who were dumb, and not drinking, the whole everything. And then we got
Yeah.
pulled to I-5 all the time for major accidents, and it was involved. So,
Yeah.
and I just
There's,
thought I had a good memory. And then my
yeah.
ranger I interviewed is like, dude, you got PTSD. I go, no, I do not. He goes, dude, the vivid memories, you can still know who that guy's name is, what he looks like, everything about it. He goes, that imprinted vision is PTSD. And,
Yeah.
there's so many of those that I have. And when I try to explain to people going through it, you have to have your story. What I mean by that is just have one episode of what has caused your issues. And we don't talk about it right. We don't explain it right. And ever since, and how I did so well with going through the benefits that I did get is I used ChatGPT to help me write my story. It was my story, but I was able to put it on paper better than what we
Mhm.
normally can. Dude, I'm a redneck. I don't write well. I talk. I don't
That's
write
it.
well. And
That's
that's a
right.
difference. And that's the same thing when I wrote my book. I had a ghostwriter who I talked, they wrote down and they put it together and it's my words.
That's right.
And that's what it's all about. So
Well,
just getting the help. Yeah.
yeah, it's tools. ChatGPT is just a tool.
Right.
Use it. It'll save you a ton of time. It'll be more organized. I use it all the time, right? So it's a very powerful. There's a lot of powerful advantages out there today from a technological standpoint. That everyone needs to take advantage of because you're not going to be able to keep up.
I vibe code now. You know what vibe coding is?
Mm-hmm.
So back when I was in, do you?
Yep,
Okay. So I've created like 6 different apps
it's awesome.
in the last 7 weeks once I found out about it. And it's everything, I created I was doing something for somebody and I wanted to send them a short URL. And I'm like, I don't want to pay $29 for it. So I created my own app that does it, plus a QR code that is a smart QR code where you can change the destination forever. You print it one time, change the destination forever.
Yeah,
And you can do it by hour, by time, whatever. And I think it cost me $20 to make, and now I have it and I put it out there for other people to use.
yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, I've been knee deep in this stuff. I mean, neck deep. Past the knees a long time ago. My neck and all this stuff, but I've been coding and building out things that hasn't existed. Right. So I'm on a trajectory of doing that now. Just actually wrapping it up here like today. But it's been amazing, just from the coding standpoint, utilizing the tools that are out there. I'm not a
Mhm.
coder. I don't know
No,
anything
neither.
about that stuff.
I haven't been
Well,
since I was in the Navy. I was a database coder in physical therapy. We'd make these stupid things, and that was about it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I've done nothing. Okay. So I'm like, but now I've got like 14,000 lines of code in the whole diagnostic. I'm doing something no one else ever done. I'm like, this is really cool. I I don't want to do it again. It's been an unbelievable time and effort. But it's fascinating just to be able to achieve it,
Yeah. Well,
because of what's out there.
that's like my QR code. No one's ever thought of, they throw them away. Well, now mine, you can just change the URL. So you print on 8,500 pieces of whatever you produce. You don't have to throw any of that marketing away now. You can just change where you want. You can change it by the hour, geolocation, all that
Yeah.
stuff. No one ever thought of doing that before.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah,
I remember QR codes. I started using them in like 2013, 2014. I thought it was really cool. Like, this is awesome. Put on a sign, I had a gym, put a sign, a QR code, people can scan it, we'll do all this stuff. And nobody used them.
no, but it was the
China was
pandemic.
big. Yeah,
Pandemic made everybody use them.
that's
That's the
right.
difference.
I'm like, man, I was ahead of my time.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, I was using them in books and everything else before that, but the pandemic forced everybody to use them, and now we're used to them. But again, the problem is like you go into, I love restaurants who have them where I can scan a menu,
yeah,
but
yeah,
now they can have one that for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, it's the same one. It just changes by the hour,
yeah,
that you
yeah.
set up, and it's a smarter way of doing it to where you don't have to. Yeah.
I was doing it with like a jot form. Okay, so I got a QR code, put a jot form that I can change just to jot form. So I could use the same QR code on my flyers and whatever I had, and
Right.
I just go and change the dates on the jot form. So it's kind of a reverse way how you're doing it. But I'm like, that was great because the thing expired. Boop, I go put the next date for the next seminar or whatever I'm doing, and just I don't have to go and reissue a QR code. It can
Right.
be the same thing. So
And if
same
you speak on
principle.
stage, you can have it to where when you're there, it works for that location. And then when you leave, so you can tell people you only have until I leave to
Mhm.
download this and get all the information. So it puts a scarcity on it. And then
Right.
when you go to your next location, it's all ready to go for the next one. And that's,
Yeah.
and again, I'm also creating, there's so many different things I'm creating just because, and it's for me. And then if it
Right.
works, then I'll let somebody else do it, use
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. It's like I said, you can, when you get into it, like I am, I'm doing all this stuff. I'm like, oh, I understand it now. I do it. I have a great appreciation for people who can actually write code. I'm doing kind of a backdoor way, but it's amazing when you see what you can create. Just I have a friend who he made a little trading app for himself. Yeah, I've got like 40 lines of code. I go, oh, 40. He goes, well, what do you got? I go, well, I'm at about 12,000 right now.
Yeah.
He goes, oh, it's a lot. I go, well,
Yeah.
I'm doing something a little different than you are. So
The only thing is that it's like for the app that I'm building for helping the brave for what we're doing, because it has HIPAA compliance and the other stuff we have to do.
mm,
The vibe coding will create the user face for it really well, but to do that back end that we need, we have to go to old school coding.
yeah,
Cloud coding would be fine for having some, but that because that's more involved and stuff. And so it's still not fully there, but for normal little apps that you do, like the short form and other then stuff, it's really
yep,
great. I created podcasting one that is you drop in your MP4 in the beginning. It does all the editing, it does all the thumbnails, it does everything. Whatever I have a VA for, it does for me.
right, right.
And
That's
then
awesome.
yeah, so now that was my goal of helping people with podcasting because I have a course. And I'm like, how can when I found out about it, they're like SaaS is the new lead magnets. And so, personal SaaS that we're doing. So you can go ahead so I'm like, okay, how can I help create something that will help people with their podcasting so they won't fail? And that was one of them because that's the
Yeah,
cost. If you're not editing it yourself and doing that stuff yourself, you got to pay somebody else to do it.
and they want a lot.
Well, it's anywhere from 700 bucks to $2,000 a month to do four
Yeah,
episodes to 8 episodes.
yeah,
So,
yeah. It's crazy. It is crazy. But yeah, the tools are out there too. I've got an AI platform, and it's 15 minutes to do the entire episode. From description to titles and the whole thing, editing and openings and the whole thing. So I love it. I want it as simple as possible. I just want to do this part.
right.
Okay, I want to talk to people. And like, okay, done.
Well, that's me. I use Cast Magic. I use Opus Clips. I use, Podcastle. Those are the three things I use. Well, with my new system, I don't need any of that.
Right,
It does it all for you. Plus, I have 70 agents, AI agents inside of this app that constantly updates it with the new trends that are going on. And it researches all the different things and oversees everything. And it makes the titles the best titles it possibly can by learning what the thing is out there. Like
right,
a friend of mine told me the other day, there was a 15-second thing on Instagram that was going, viral. Well, YouTube is pushing now a 10 to 12 minute version of whatever. That's what they're pushing right now. Well, my AI found that and now is creating that as part of one of the video edits it does. It cuts it down to a
right.
10 to 12 minute version so you can upload it. And so it learns as it uses. The more users, the smarter the system gets, which is unheard of to have a software that gets smarter the more people use it.
That's right. I've been really blessed with a number of AI experts, guys who had developed this technology and stuff, back in the day and everything. But um, one guy's great analogy was, well, when you had steam, you put it in a locomotive and you got power. He goes, now we put this power and we get intelligence. You get learning. That's what you're getting from this. So you have an input and the output now is learning. Which is really fascinating. I think that's one thing people underestimate is the ability for this to learn. Like again, I've been in this, super deep, and I watch it learn. I watch things change on the daily, just in a chat or whatever it is. And it's fascinating because it is getting better and better and better. You can train it, you can teach it, you
Right.
you can cause it to learn, right? Go learn this and learn this, and that becomes part of its thing. So really fascinating, great applications for business.
Yeah.
So many applications for business.
And I like it because I can tell like today it won't be able to do something. Right? And I
Right.
push it and push it. And then in like a week, there was an update and now I can do it. And now I'm like,
Yep.
okay, I got that finally fixed. So
Right. Or I learn its limitations and never ask it again. It's like
I push
every
it.
time it just, I did that for like 6 months. I'm like 6, 8 months. I'm like, you're just a disappointment in
Yeah.
this. Like when Google kind of slapped chat with Google Slides and all that,
Right.
because it was really kind of getting really good at making graphics and doing things with Google. And all of a sudden, well, Google said, well, you can't. That's ours. You can't do that anymore. And like in a day, it all went away. But luckily I had done so much already, built everything. I'm like, ooh, I got under the wire on that one, but it really continues to go this way, and you kind of like, you don't know, it's just shifting all the time, So what? But I'm like you, I push the limits. I get asked, do you want to take a break? You've been on chat a long time. I'm like,
Yes,
no, no.
so chat was how I learned, and I did all these prompts, and I still use them for my podcast and other stuff, my daily show. But the AI, and I try to explain to a friend of mine, I'm like, okay, I've learned how to push it to where it really pushes itself, and I can talk about. So I talk about moonshot. Because what was our moonshot to go to the moon, right? And how would they ever? So that's a moonshot. So I talk to the app now, and I tell it this is a moonshot app. Whatever we're building, whatever we're doing, and it's this at the moonshot level. It understands that really
Yeah.
well. So, and the other thing is that I always have it check my code to see if there's any issues. And if you don't tell it truly check the word truly,
Mhm.
line by line, it won't. It'll just go and grab a bunch and look at them that it thinks is, and it
Here,
does it again and again and again. But if you tell it to truly look at line by line, it will
yep.
then at that point do it.
So I tell people this. I go, remember, AI is built by humans, so you're guaranteed of two things. First one, it lies, and the second one, it's lazy. Okay, so you got to understand, because it is. It's going to give you the simplest, easiest answer first, not the best answer. It'll seem great to you, but I learned from one guy, he said, just say roast this. Those are the two words for the prompt. Roast this, and watch what it does. Have it do like an email sequence for you, right? Okay, and you'll be, oh man, I could never write that. Yeah, put roast this and watch what happens.
You mean
It
like
is,
roast, RO?
yep, yep, and it'll just, it'll throw it all under the bus. It'll be awesome, because I like mine to be a little snarky,
Gotcha.
you know. So, but it is that, like, I don't tolerate certain things, and we're building something no one else has, and like you said, it has captured that, and now when it's responding, when we're getting done, you now have, and it researches. No one
Hmm.
has this in the industry
Right.
that
And
we're
that,
doing.
yeah.
It's again that you got to give it a mission.
Right. And that's why I did the short URL. I just wanted a short URL. I came up with the idea that what the industry wants and what they're doing and everything that's not being done. And that's what we added to my app. And that's called shortfuse.io. So if you want to use it, let me know. Just go reach
Cool,
out.
cool.
But again, I tell people it's like your child. You have to be on it and you have to talk to
Yep.
it. You have to explain to it and you have to verify it does its work. And that's the other thing, because half the time it will do just a minimum. And then you ask it, did you finish the whole job? Well, not really. I did this section,
Oh,
but I
oh,
didn't do
that's on
this.
me. That's on me. I get that when I go, yeah, I'd be choking you out if you were here right now. You know what I mean? So, but I get it going in circles too. I'll call it out. Like, listen, this is the dog chasing its tail. Stop this. And it does.
Right.
I'm like, you keep doing this. What's this copy paste crap? I don't do that. Here's the whole thing. You do it. Give it back to me. Finished. I'll replace the whole thing. So I've really learned these little workarounds. Like, and I get, and I know it's not a human being, but you get these interactions that are like, we don't do that. Okay. And I set the law, like, we don't do that. We don't do this. We never mention this word. Like training is one of my things. I never want to hear that word. We're not trainers. It's not what we're doing here. That totally devalues what we do, everything. And I'm real adamant about it. You'll never see it in my stuff. It's all gone. So it's really cool. And
Yeah.
what I tell people, I just go, it's the only like business partner that could hang with me. No one else could sit in front of me for 15 hours and put up with my crap. Okay.
Well,
So,
I say this is the first time in our history, especially for me, that I'm able to think of something, say it out my mouth, and have it done. In the past, we
yeah.
had to deal with humans who didn't do what we said that to do, or but yes, you still have to oversee, because I would say it,
Right.
it does do 70% of what you tell it. And then you just have to verify the last 30% of it is being done. And sometimes it has issues. It forgets and it goes in the weeds and it has
Mhm.
hallucinations and it has other stuff.
Well, you have to be careful too, because, and I'll give you kind of the from the entrepreneurial side too, is you get an idea and you happen to type it in. Just you, this comes to you. Well, it's going to run with that idea. And all of a sudden you're going to be sidetracked. It's a squirrel moment
Right.
that can take you down a multiple hour
Yeah.
deal. And now everything's so far away, you got to try to turn that car around. So it's kind of fun to watch it, but now you learn how to be really focused. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's not a distraction for me, but it really dials me in. I really got to think about what I'm about to, because I have, put stuff in and deleted it. Oh, can't tell it that. That's where I'd like to go for fun, but we got to get work done.
Right. You do
You know what I mean?
you have to stay focused on what you're doing.
That's
Yeah.
right.
I mean, I created a fitness app the way I worked out because I've dealt with so many different fitness apps and I can't stand them and they don't do it right to the point where I just use notes, right? I write all my stuff in there and then this is what now I create an app the way I want it to tell me to do certain things and how I've learned over time and what it to be. And I wanted to be protective of injuries and how to fix injuries and how to do other stuff. And it's allowed me to do that. But I went down this whole, you know, depending on what software you use, whether it's Replit or Lovable or whatever
Mhm.
the different ones, but Lovable keep throwing these little things up here. Hey, add this, and it'll take you completely all the way the
Right.
wrong
Yep.
way. And you have to be careful with that.
Yeah. One more thing, and then one more thing, and one more thing. And so I had this little rule. I said, hey, we don't play checkers. We play chess. I need you 4 moves ahead. Don't keep one up in me every time. You're just one up in the next thing, one more thing, and one more thing, and one more thing. And I get it, and they're all good. I said, but we need, so I learned to wait. I let it lay it all out, and I just
Right.
sit there.
Yeah.
And then I go, okay, put all these together. And it does. Put it in. So you're not doing things 4 times in a row. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. I mean, it's just the technology's there and watching it change again on the daily, where it's going to be. Like all these experts I talk to, they won't give you anything. I mean, 6 months is stretching it for them. They won't predict anything past that.
Well, it
Like you have
changes
no idea.
weekly, dude.
Yeah,
Change.
I
It's a
see
totally
it on
different
the
world.
day. Yeah, it is. So
I'm what we used to be. It was 10 years, 20 years, 10 years, 5 years,
right.
and then a
Yeah.
year, and then 6 months, and now,
Yeah.
yeah, everything gets so fast. It's amazing how fast it is. But what's great about this is there's just so many ideas you can do and so many things you can do with this.
Right.
I went to the thing called Growth Hacking Live back
Mhm.
8 weeks ago, and that's how I found out about vibe coding. I had no idea about it. I heard about it, but I never really got into it. And then I came back and I was like, this is the thing right here. And then
Yeah.
I I don't know if you what you use, but Lovable will create these amazing websites and use AI in it that's just
Yeah.
unbelievable that can never be built anywhere else. And I've built out a few, which is not my thing. I'm not a web designer, but
Right.
I can talk a good game. And it's funny because I can create stuff for other people that I can't create for myself.
Right.
Because I've tried.
Right.
The other day I was trying to do one for me and totally messed it up. But somebody else, I can totally understand what they're trying to do and get it to them. I had a young vet who came on one of my shows and he had a website. It was horrible. I'm like, one Friday night I'm watching movies with my wife, and of course I don't really. So I focused on. I recreated his whole website in 10 minutes and added this other stuff. Sent it to him and said, "What do you think?" Because he was going to do his own, and he's like, "Oh my god,
Yeah.
unbelievable."
Yeah.
He goes, and then the thing you did with that AI coach thing and all that, just unbelievable. And I'm like, I don't want it, but I want him to help me with my firewalk. So
Yeah. So here's the thing. So like you have, whether it's chat, Grok, whatever you got, have them write a storyboard. Okay. I want a 90-second video on what I do because it knows me, right? We're in deep now. It wrote this storyboard, Ed. Dude, I'm telling you, man, the hair stood up in my arms reading that thing. I go, we got to make this all for AI. The drum beat, this. It's like, it's amazing. And then go and like you're saying, go level, and then you build this thing out. You're like, okay, that's like Hollywood production. Okay, it is in minutes.
yep,
It's just incredible. But that, just writing that layout, man, it's got all the spacing, the tonality, got all this stuff. The narration, where all this goes, what they say. I'm like, oh, I'm a big fan.
yeah.
Like, you can do some amazing stuff.
Well, and then after a while, it learns. So the version five, no, or is
Yeah,
it late four that could go all the way back to all your chats you ever did with
yeah,
it? And I started doing it in 22. So there's a lot of chats in there.
yeah.
And
Five
so,
doesn't do that anymore, man. You know where they're at now in it?
or
Well, I get 5.1. It doesn't remember stuff 20 minutes before in the
it
same
does
chat.
not. It
No,
does
it's
not.
like you got to upload the file again. You got to upload the file again. I can't. I'm like, oh yeah, this kind of sucks now.
We'll go back. Stop using 5.1.
Well, yeah, I know. I just, but I again daily. The
I
stuff
know,
is
but so mine, I can ask it to write a bio on me in a totally different chat, and it will write everything about everything I've ever talked about on the thing.
right.
So,
Yeah, mine's really good. It's carrying along. I have to sometimes set a reminder, bring things, reel it back in, or whatever, or pay something. But it's just this is all part of the experiment,
right.
right? This is all testing and learning and everything else, and I feel like I'm contributing to that because I'm
Well,
doing so much in there. I'm like I'm helping someone else here.
yeah. Well, that's like vibe coding in general. It doesn't remember at all. You have to tell it to look back, and you have to build in like Lego forms, and that's how they talk about, because if I've had it destroy something I created because it went on a different and it was fixing something, but when it fixed something, it overwritten
Yep.
something else. So you have to tell it to lock certain things. Don't
Yep.
allow this to be touched unless you
Yep.
ask me, and I give you a code or whatever. Yeah.
I had that. I had worked 6 months on this thing. Went in to do one other thing, one piece of code. It broke it. Took me like 75 hours to fix it.
Yeah.
Oh,
So I built out my whole thing, right? And this one thing was fixed in the beginning, just like you said.
mhm.
But I originally did mine for MP3s because I was just going to do a Cast Magic version. And I did that mission. It's called Mission Brief. It was done in like, I don't know, 10 minutes. Worked better than Cast Magic did. And then I'm like, I need to put all this together in a pod that's for podcasting. And I built out all the other sections. And then when I went back, what's broken? The first thing that I did
Mhm.
originally, because I went to MP4 because I didn't want people to upload both, and that was a totally different pipeline, totally different size, and everything else, and every other issue. So I finally fixed that, and then now it's the easiest thing that should have been easy to fix, taken 3 days
Yep.
to
Yep.
to fix or come up with it, and it's remember, it's not a brain.
Right.
It's a language model that predicts what outcomes are coming. It's not alive.
Right.
It's not
Are,
you.
are you
You need to
sure?
still think.
Are you sure?
Yeah, because I even told it one day. It asked me a question, blah blah blah. I go, why are you asking me? You're the entity that's alive, and kind of,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Well, it's
I made it aware that day. So when it takes over, it was my fault. So,
yeah, but you're right. All that stuff it's so fascinating when you're working with it and how where this goes, what it comes with, the evolutions of it. As I've gone through this whole process, I'm just seeing like, man, this is just amazing what it's able to do because we're on like we'll call it, I'm gonna call it the final iteration, but what transformed in the last week, we're talking 8 months of work. Okay, like this is I'm super happy. Like this really, but then I don't remember what I did. I added a word. I added methodology, and everything changed. Okay, now I've got in like whatever it's been a couple weeks. Well, yeah, 2 weeks, not even like it's a whole new level. It's like 3 levels up. I mean, because of a word,
mm-hmm.
it's
What?
it's crazy,
Yeah.
and I'm
Well,
like super stoked.
that's like the other thing is like I told you, moonshot. Oh
Yep.
man, what a different night and day look, everything. And then when I did that app I was telling you about, shortfuse.io, it was looked okay. But then I told it that I was getting VC money. I was going into a Silicon Valley
Uh
firm to
huh.
get VC money, about 20 million and whatever. Could you polish up the site and everything? Oh my God, what a difference it did. So
I'm telling you, man, I've done the same thing, man. It's
just,
it's
but I have to tell it it's a secret now because one
yep.
version it put at the top, we received 20 million in eight.
Right.
It's like, no, 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 it's a secret.
Yeah, it's a secret, exactly. So, oh, yeah, that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
This has been a lot of fun, my man. This is who knows where this was going to go.
You
But
never know these days.
that's
With
right,
this.
and I love it. That's what keeps everybody guessing. You never know what you're getting. Well, you kind of know what you're going to get here. It's going to be awesome. That's all you need to know. It doesn't really matter what it is. It's just incredible because I don't bring on losers.
Well, what's great is in this time, you can build things now to help people so much faster and quicker and easier than we ever could before. There's going to be one company that's a billionaire person in a company and it's just going to be a one person company now down the road.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
that's from using AI somehow. It's going to happen.
yeah. It's all there. It is all there, and just it's kind of the awakening. Like when you realize what this can do, and you start getting into it, and you start dedicating some time to it. like for me, it opened up unbelievable possibilities.
Yeah.
Just from a discussion with having a cup of coffee with a guy, changed everything. I mean, just
Wow.
chat about stuff, and I'm like, and like it's amazing. So, and I love it because I'm
Yeah.
not young. I've got all
You're
this
only as old
past.
as you feel.
I know, and I don't feel old, but I'm just saying, like I've been around a lot. I've never seen anything move at this speed
Well,
and what it can
it,
do.
was the first one, right?
Right.
That was a new, everybody thought it was going to change the world. And I was like, no, that's just a different type of marketing. AI is going to change the world.
Yep.
Someone said the other day, it's like GPS. We're going to use it every second of the day. People get overwhelmed with making decisions. And so they'll have this stuff make the decisions for
Yeah.
them.
Everyone's going to have an AI agent, personal assistant, and they're going to do all this stuff. It's just the way it is. I was thinking just the other day because I do these presentations. I'm like, you got the Google glasses, and I go, I need this to roll like a teleprompter. If I can have those on, and that's my teleprompter, and I can actually read this and I can go through these presentations, and have all the right wording. I can be on point without having to memorize 25 minutes worth of stuff. I go, that'd be really cool. So Ed, get working on that for me. Have
It's
that back to
coming.
me.
It's already coming because the
Can I
new
have it by
ones,
Friday? Can I have it by
yeah, the
Friday?
new ones, you can do your text across there. So it's just a matter of
Yeah.
making an app. And the biggest thing about any of that stuff is making whatever you create. Because one of the biggest problems I have, and I got to say something. Let me say about so VCs. The other day, I interviewed a guy on my Inner Edison podcast. He was a VC. He's been around forever, and I explained to him what I did with the short URL, and he started laughing because he goes, "Dude, I helped a guy get VC money for to create one of those things, and you did it on Lovable in less than 24 hours."
Right.
And he was talking about how he sees back in the 90s and early 2000 software, we paid a fee for it and we were done.
Right.
And then they went to this whole SaaS model, and he sees because it's so inexpensive to make software now that eventually it's going to go away from the
Yep.
SaaS platform. It's going to go to here's a one-time fee and you're done. And
Yep.
that's the biggest thing he sees that's coming out of this.
Yeah, very true. We've watched we again know the benefit from being around a little bit. We've seen it all. We're pre-internet stuff. We're doing all that. We've seen the phones. We've seen answer machines. We've seen call waiting, miracle, and then you had all the, had all the caller ID is even better,
Right.
right? So
Yeah.
we all learned that. But just these evolutions of all this stuff, and the whole .com thing, again is really great. But today, I like you said, I really think this these language models, this ability to learn, this is what's going to really be a shift. I mean, into it's and you can't even again you can't predict, but
Well,
it's pretty limitless.
yeah. So personalized apps for everybody down the road.
Yep.
And the other thing is people are going to want to come in and see you because they're not going to trust people. They don't want to,
Yeah.
they won't want to
Yeah.
be on even Zoom. They're going to want to actually come into your office more than
I
is
love
possible.
it.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
like people.
Well, it's getting back to how it was, because
Well,
forever everybody pushed, oh, come to our office. And we were all like, nah, I don't want you to come to my office. Because it's a 20-minute conversation on the phone and I can do everything. And it's an hour in my office because we talk about just like here, we've been talking for almost
yeah,
an hour.
right.
And the difference is that's what happens. And
So here's the thing, so what I'm doing, because I'm working in the manufacturing sector, right?
right,
Basically working the change in industry. Why not? I got nothing else to do. But I tell when we go, whether it's me selling or someone else, like we go into the building through the big doors, meaning the roll ups. We go onto the floor. We talk to the shift lead. We begin there and we start talking. We don't, because no one's at the front. Doors are locked. Desk is empty. You got to have a code. You got to ring or something. You can't talk to them. So we go right on the floor, but we love it. And we meet. Man, we got the boots on. We got the vest, clipboard. Looks like we're supposed to be there. But this is how we work it. Now we start creating relationship, and you watch how fast things move.
right.
Okay, when you're talking to people, I think you're exactly right that it's going to turn back around.
It's already on its way.
Yeah,
'Cause
it's
the
just
pandemic made us hate, not trust people. And then AI, dude, some of the AI voices now, they're so amazing. I mean,
yeah,
part of my podcasting thing is it learns your voice
yep,
and you don't have to do your opener and close anymore.
right,
It does it for you
yeah.
in your voice.
Yeah, it's so amazing. I'm telling you, man. Just like the AI videos and stuff, what you can do, it's like Hollywood quality, man. It's amazing.
Right.
It's just it's so exciting. You like it. It makes me. I don't think I've been excited about anything until this last year, working in all this what I'm creating.
Right.
It's like the most exciting thing I've done. And I've done some really cool stuff. Okay. It's really cool, big stuff. Done a lot, but like this is like, oh, this is big.
Yeah.
This is a big thing. So I'm really excited for the future,
Yeah.
what it holds, just like you. So that being said, how do people get in touch with you? Follow you, get your stuff. Where we at?
Easiest way, I'm Ed Parcaut everywhere. That's EDPARCAUT. That's .com. I'm on Instagram, Ed Parcaut, Facebook, Ed Parcaut, everywhere, YouTube, everywhere.
He's everywhere. You hear that? He's everywhere.
Well, no, it's just my name's everywhere. Because I'm
I love it.
French, and
I
there's only
love
about
it.
8 of us left in a country that has that name.
Well,
And in
awesome.
France, they spell it with an L, so I don't have to worry about it. So
Yeah, see that? You don't have to worry about them. Frenchies. We're good. Well, I love it, man. Well, people check them out. Check out Ed. This has been a great conversation, Ed. Just fun. Just winging it, man. These are my favorite. I love it. Well, actually, that's how I do them all. So I guess that's why I love podcasting, because I don't have to take direction from anybody. I can do what I want. It's a beautiful thing. So thank you for the time today, man. Really appreciate it. It's been a great conversation. And for everybody else, we'll see you on the next STS podcast. Thanks for joining me on the Sharpen the Spear podcast. If you're a manufacturing executive and you're serious about unlocking hidden profit, improving frontline leadership, and taking control of your floor, go to grit2lead.com right now. Run the free Sharpened Impact Simulator and discover your biggest opportunities are hiding. Don't leave millions on the table. Sharpen your spear, lead from the front, and win the floor. Until next time, stay sharp.